Shockwaves rippled across the Middle East this week as reports emerged of a missile strike that targeted one of Israel's most critical communication installations, a satellite hub intimately tied to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's strategic command network. The news hit with a mix of disbelief and alarm, as analysts scrambled to understand not only what had happened, but the scale of what this attack implied for the region and, indeed, for modern warfare itself. According to multiple sources circulating across regional media and security channels, Iranian forces had deployed one of their most advanced weapons, the Fattah, one hypersonic missile toward the facility in what experts describe as an audacious and highly precise long-range strike. Unlike conventional missiles, the Fattah-1 operates at speeds and with maneuverability that make it exceptionally difficult to detect, track, or intercept, and that distinction is critical to understanding both the tactical and symbolic impact of this event. The missile, reportedly traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 13, entered Israeli airspace with a velocity that placed it firmly within the hypersonic category, an arena of weaponry where reaction time for defense systems is measured in seconds rather than minutes. Hypersonic weapons, like the Fattah-1, are not merely fast. They are engineered to change trajectory mid-flight, a capability that allows them to evade traditional interception systems and render conventional missile defense strategies almost obsolete. As radar systems in Israel detected the incoming threat, defensive protocols were activated, including the famed Iron Dome network. Interceptors were launched, the usual choreography of high-stakes defense playing out in real time. Yet reports indicate that these systems, designed for the predictability of ballistic trajectories, struggled against the maneuverable hypersonic warhead. Within moments, the missile struck its target, unleashing an explosion that shook the surrounding area, sending debris and shockwaves through the communication hub and leaving a stark illustration of the destructive potential of these next-generation weapons. The satellite communication hub itself is far more than a collection of towers and dishes. It is a nerve center, a facility that integrates antenna arrays, data centers, power systems, and secure communication lines that transmit signals across continents and between strategic military units. Damage to such a facility is not simply physical. It disrupts layers of communication essential for intelligence, operational coordination, and strategic command. Early assessments indicate that several critical antenna towers were obliterated, compromising the facility's ability to transmit encrypted signals to orbiting satellites. Satellite dishes and transmission arrays, designed to capture and route signals with high precision, were reported damaged or destroyed. In a system built for redundancy and security, these losses ripple outward, potentially affecting military coordination, intelligence sharing, and command communication networks. Fires ignited within the installation, exacerbating the damage, threatening electronic systems, power generators, and technical infrastructure necessary to maintain continuous operation. Emergency response teams were dispatched, but the situation underscored a profound vulnerability. When sophisticated technological networks are targeted, the consequences extend beyond a single strike, creating cascading operational challenges. Analysts quickly noted that the implications of the attack go beyond the immediate damage. The Fattah-1 represents a significant leap in missile technology, a hypersonic weapon designed to overcome modern missile defense systems. Its deployment in an actual operational scenario illustrates a shift in military strategy, where speed, maneuverability, and precision converge to challenge existing paradigms of defense. For Israel, the temporary disruption of its satellite communication infrastructure forced reliance on backup systems and emergency rerouting of signals. Command centers that once transmitted orders, monitored operations, and maintained secure communication links with distant military units suddenly faced limitations, highlighting how even a short-term compromise can affect strategic calculation. The strike was a stark reminder of how modern conflict increasingly targets the digital and technological spine of national defense, not just conventional military installations. Satellite communication hubs have become central to national defense capabilities around the world. They integrate radar systems, data centers, and secure networks, enabling coordination across vast distances and providing real-time intelligence that informs operational decisions. By striking such a facility, Iranian planners appear to have targeted a strategic node within Israel's command infrastructure, a move with both practical and symbolic significance. Hitting a hub associated with national leadership sends a clear strategic message. Advanced technological infrastructure, even when heavily protected, is vulnerable to next-generation offensive capabilities. Analysts around the globe began studying the strike, recognizing that the operational use of a hypersonic missile in a live scenario marks a turning point in missile warfare. Hypersonic weapons are not just faster. They redefine the calculus of interception and defense, raising questions about the effectiveness of existing missile defense systems and the balance between offensive and defensive capabilities. The immediate aftermath at the communications facility revealed the scale of disruption. Antenna arrays destroyed in the blast severed critical communication links, while data centers sustaining high volumes of secure traffic were compromised. These centers manage encryption, signal routing, and coordination for both military and intelligence operations. And damage to such systems creates operational blind spots. Analysts noted that the temporary disruption of communication channels could have affected certain satellite services crucial for military coordination, intelligence sharing, and command communication. For planners in Israel, these effects, even if short-lived, carry strategic consequences. They underscore a vulnerability inherent in modern warfare. When a sophisticated adversary deploys hypersonic weapons, the very infrastructure designed to provide security and situational awareness can be rendered ineffective in moments. Iranian statements following the strike framed the Fattah, one as a technological demonstration, a clear indication of capability aimed at overcoming the defenses of modern military powers. The missile's hypersonic speed, maneuverability, and precision were touted as features that render traditional interception almost impossible. The broader Fattah missile program represents Iran's strategic push to develop advanced weapons that can reach distant targets with a level of accuracy and speed previously unattainable. Analysts had warned for years that hypersonic missiles represent a disruptive technology, one that challenges the assumptions underlying conventional defense systems. In this strike, those warnings became a stark reality. The trajectory of the missile, the failure of interception attempts, and the subsequent destruction at the communications hub illustrate how a single weapon, when deployed strategically, can alter operational dynamics in a conflict zone. Beyond the tactical dimension, the psychological and symbolic impact cannot be ignored. Satellite communications are the backbone of modern military operations, and targeting such a hub demonstrates an ability to strike at the core of a nation's command and control infrastructure. For Israel, the strike not only damaged equipment, but sent a signal to both domestic and international observers. The era of hypersonic warfare is here, and traditional defense systems may not provide the protection once assumed. For global defense planners, the implications are profound. If hypersonic missiles can evade interception and strike high-value infrastructure, the balance between offensive and defensive capabilities may shift, necessitating a reevaluation of strategic doctrines and the investment in new detection, tracking, and interception technologies. As emergency teams worked to contain fires, assess structural damage, and restore temporary communication channels, the world watched closely. The strike had demonstrated more than just the destructive potential of a single missile. It had shown the growing role of advanced missile technologies in shaping the future of conflict. Analysts emphasize that while hypersonic weapons are not yet ubiquitous, their operational use is a signal that nations are rapidly integrating these technologies into their strategic arsenals. For Israel, rerouting satellite links and activating emergency communication channels became urgent priorities, highlighting the fragility and interconnectedness of modern defense networks. Even temporary disruptions in these systems have consequences that extend far beyond the immediate battlefield, affecting intelligence sharing, operational coordination, and decision-making at the highest levels. In examining the broader consequences, military experts pointed to a shift in how nations must approach defense planning. Traditional assumptions about predictability in missile trajectories, response times, and interception capabilities are no longer sufficient. The Fattah, one strike, underscores a new reality. Hypersonic weapons have the potential to bypass conventional defenses, reach critical infrastructure, and disrupt operational command structures with unprecedented speed and precision. For countries heavily reliant on satellite communications and integrated technological networks, this represents a fundamental vulnerability. The incident in Israel illustrates the necessity of developing adaptive, multi-layered defense strategies capable of addressing these next-generation threats. The attack also highlights the evolving nature of modern conflicts. Rather than targeting only conventional military assets, such as bases, airfields, or troop concentrations, sophisticated adversaries now aim to disrupt the informational and technological infrastructure that underpins military effectiveness. Communication networks, radar installations, satellite hubs, and data centers are now prime targets, and their compromise can have cascading effects on operational readiness. By striking Israel's satellite hub, Iranian planners demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of the strategic value of information and communication systems, signaling a shift toward conflict that is as much about technology and data as it is about territory or traditional force projection. In the immediate hours following the strike, analysts began dissecting the implications for global security. Hypersonic missiles, by virtue of their speed and maneuverability, reduce the reaction time available to defensive systems, challenging the traditional paradigm of missile defense. The Fattah, one incident suggests that even well-protected installations are vulnerable to these emerging threats. This has broad implications not just for Israel and the Middle East, but for nations worldwide that rely on satellite communications and integrated technological networks for military coordination, intelligence gathering, and strategic planning. The incident underscores the urgent need for investments in new detection and interception technologies, adaptive defense protocols, and redundancy planning to mitigate the risk posed by hypersonic weapons. The symbolic weight of the strike is equally significant. By targeting a facility linked to national leadership, the attack sends a clear strategic message. Advanced technological infrastructure is both critical and vulnerable. For military strategists, this emphasizes that future conflicts will increasingly focus on technological supremacy, speed of information, and the resilience of integrated networks. Damage to a satellite hub is not merely a local problem. It is a disruption with far-reaching consequences for communication, intelligence, and operational command. As nations watch closely, the incident reinforces the reality that next-generation missile technologies, including hypersonic weapons, are reshaping the landscape of strategic and operational planning. In the hours and days following the strike, the strategic calculus in the region began to shift in ways that few could have anticipated. Israeli defense officials moved swiftly to assess both the physical and operational damage, rerouting communication channels, activating emergency satellite links, and coordinating with allied intelligence partners to ensure that no gap in situational awareness persisted. At the same time, military analysts across the globe were piecing together what the strike revealed about the evolution of hypersonic warfare. For decades, ballistic missiles defined the limits of speed and precision, their paths predictable, and their interception manageable. But the Fattah, one incident, shattered that assumption. Its maneuverability, combined with velocities exceeding Mach 13, left analysts confronting a new reality, one in which even the most fortified infrastructure could be rendered vulnerable in moments, a reality in which strategic advantage could be achieved not through conventional force alone, but through mastery of speed, stealth, and trajectory manipulation. International reactions were immediate and stark. Governments and security think tanks began issuing assessments, highlighting the broader implications for global security. For NATO members, for nations in East Asia, for the United States and Europe alike, the strike was a wake-up call. Hypersonic capabilities were no longer a theoretical concern, but a present danger. This was not merely about Israel or Iran. It was about a profound transformation in the very nature of military deterrence. Traditional missile defense paradigms, even the most sophisticated layered systems, suddenly appeared insufficient. The strike underscored that speed, precision, and the ability to alter trajectories mid-flight could overcome decades of investment in air defense and early warning infrastructure. Analysts debated the potential for escalation, recognizing that the demonstration of hypersonic capability is as much about signaling intent as it is about operational impact. By striking a high-value target with such advanced technology, Iran had not only tested a defense system, but also tested the world's assumptions about the stability of military deterrence in a hypersonic era. Back in Israel, the human dimension of the strike was palpable. Operators in command centers, analysts in intelligence bureaus, and technicians at the communications hub all faced the stark reality of vulnerability. While no casualties were widely reported, the psychological impact of seeing a facility so central to national security struck with almost no warning was undeniable. Military planners began revisiting protocols, assessing redundancies, and contemplating what additional measures might be required to safeguard critical infrastructure against similar attacks in the future. Across the region, the event sparked discussions in military academies, think tanks, and strategic councils, with a single question looming large. If one hypersonic missile can bypass defenses and disrupt a core node of communication, how many could do so in a coordinated strike? And what would that mean for the stability of a nation's command and control apparatus? On the Iranian side, statements emphasize the precision, sophistication, and strategic intent behind the Fattah-1 missile. Officials frame the strike as a demonstration of technological mastery, showcasing a weapon specifically designed to overcome the most advanced defense system. For military strategists in Tehran, the strike represented both a tactical success and a psychological message, signaling that Iran's technological reach now extended into domains once thought secure against conventional and even advanced missile threat. Hypersonic missiles, they made clear, were not simply an addition to the arsenal. They were a statement about the future of warfare, a tool capable of reshaping regional power dynamics and challenging the assumptions underlying deterrence strategies across the globe. Meanwhile, the international security community began to confront uncomfortable questions. If a single hypersonic missile could so dramatically disrupt a nation's communication infrastructure, what implications did this have for global strategic stability? Could existing treaties, defense doctrines, and early warning systems be adapted quickly enough to keep pace with these emerging threats? Analysts noted that the event was emblematic of a broader trend in modern warfare: the increasing centrality of technology, speed, and information dominance. Conflict is no longer solely about physical territory or massed firepower. It is about the ability to control, disrupt, and exploit networks, to gain advantage through intelligence, and to strike with precision before defenses can react. The Fattah-1 strike was a stark illustration of that shift, a live demonstration of a new era in which speed, maneuverability, and technology define strategic advantage. For Israel, the operational response became a matter of urgency. Engineers worked to restore damaged equipment, reroute satellite links, and stabilize networks that had been disrupted. Contingency systems were activated, emergency protocols implemented, and coordination with allied intelligence partners intensified. Analysts reported that temporary solutions were able to maintain basic operational continuity, but the incident left a permanent mark on the strategic mindset of Israel's defense establishment. The realization that critical infrastructure, even when heavily fortified and carefully monitored, could be compromised by a single advanced missile sparked a reassessment of priorities. Investments in redundant systems, faster detection capabilities, and new defensive technologies suddenly became imperative. The strike was not only a test of hardware, but a test of organizational resilience, and the lessons learned would likely shape Israel's defense planning for years to come. At the global level, the strike rekindled debates about arms races, the proliferation of hypersonic technology, and the future of strategic deterrence. Nations around the world, from Asia to Europe to North America, face the same strategic question: how to prepare for a reality in which critical infrastructure could be threatened by weapons capable of bypassing existing defenses. Analysts emphasize that the Fattah-1 incident was not an isolated event, but a harbinger of a new age in military strategy, one in which the speed, precision, and unpredictability of hypersonic missiles would fundamentally alter the landscape of defense and deterrence. For policymakers, the strike was a reminder that technological advancement can rapidly shift the balance of power, and that preparation, adaptability, and innovation are now essential elements of national security. In the aftermath, conversations among military planners, engineers, and analysts turned toward mitigation and adaptation. How can communication networks be hardened against hypersonic threats? How can detection and interception systems evolve to account for weapons capable of unpredictable trajectories? And fundamentally, what does it mean for the future of conflict when speed and technology can so dramatically outpace existing defenses? These questions are not academic. They are operational imperatives. The Fattah-1 missile strike offered a case study in the vulnerabilities inherent in even the most advanced technological systems, and the implications extend far beyond the borders of Israel or Iran. Symbolically, the strike reinforced the changing nature of modern warfare. In the 21st century, conflicts are increasingly fought not just with conventional armies, but with networks, satellites, and high-speed precision weapons. Striking at a communications hub demonstrates an understanding that information is power, and control over communication channels can be as decisive as control over land or airspace. The Fattah-1 incident therefore carries dual significance. Operationally, it disrupted critical networks. Strategically, it signaled that next-generation missile technology is capable of redefining the rules of engagement. As analysts continue to review the strike, the broader narrative becomes clear. We are witnessing the early stages of a transformation in warfare, a shift in which hypersonic weapons Advanced missile systems and technological infrastructure play central roles in shaping outcomes. Nations must adapt, invest, and innovate, or risk finding their most critical systems compromised with little warning. The Fattah, one missile, was a dramatic illustration of the speed at which these changes are unfolding, a stark reminder that the future of global security will be defined as much by technological mastery as by traditional military power. And as the world continues to grapple with the implications, one thing is undeniable. The era of hypersonic weapons is no longer a distant concept. It is here. It is real. And it has already demonstrated the power to challenge assumptions, disrupt networks, and reshape the strategic landscape in ways that will resonate for years to come. Emergency teams in Israel may have stabilized operations. Engineers may have begun reconstruction. And communication channels may be rerouted. But the symbolic and strategic impact of the strike endures. Hypersonic missiles have entered the operational lexicon of modern warfare. And the Fattah, one strike, serves as both a warning and a glimpse of a future in which speed, precision, and technology define the front lines of global conflict.